But coming in his own right. With that, I invite Somdev to share his journey with us. You look stumped.
पहला कौन कर रहा है?
Yeah, that's okay. Imagine this is a racket, and I'm throwing the ball.
You're doing Karan, whatever that is.
I guess I'll try. I'll see what happens from here. Yeah, let's start with this. Yeah. Well, hello. Yeah, so I guess been put a little bit on the spot here, but I guess that's fine.
You're used to it.
Yeah, a little bit on the spot with a whole bunch of amazing women. I mean, that's even better. But yeah, I guess if you want to talk about how my journey began or any of that stuff, I think one of the things that I feel could be important enough to talk about is that I've spent playing professional tennis, gone through the training, been on the tour, all of that, played for the country and so on and so forth. I guess one of the important questions that you can ask anybody in pretty much any profession is, well, what did you learn from it? So I think that's the thing that maybe I would like to begin with. From a very, very young age, I was very privileged that my parents were, open enough, especially, I think being from India, it's not that easy to have very open-minded parents. So I think I was very fortunate enough to have parents who were very open-minded and really wanted me and were really encouraging for me to play sports. So I think, right from the get-go, even when I think anybody who plays sport over here understands that you always end up losing a lot more than you end up winning. So one of the things I learned from a very, very young age is how important it was to not be very discouraged just because of losses. But, I think it was a lot more important for me to learn from why I was losing, start learning how to be objective and, really see if I could take something out from those losses and turn them around and try and make the best of every opportunity at that given time. And I think that's one of for me, that's really worked in a lot of my life and in many different aspects. Obviously now I've stopped playing. But the coolest thing for me with sport is that I feel like a lot of those messages and a lot of those lessons that I learned along the way, whether it was about hard work, dedication, how to deal with stress, pressure, everything like that, I think the coolest part for me is that all of that stuff is still applicable to my life today. Whether it's, I currently run a charity for a bunch of children where we promote sport. I run a couple of startups, and I feel like all of those lessons that I learned through sport is something that's very applicable to me today. So I guess I would just like to start off this this panel discussion, by talking about how important sport really is to a child's life, and also especially being from India, how difficult is it to actually access that important part of your growing up. So I guess with that introduction, thank you again for that. I guess with that introduction, I could pass the mic on to Karan. Thanks so.
Guys, a round of applause for him. Our gold medalist, phenomenal champion. Okay, so essentially, I also come from a similar background in the sense that I focus on grassroots right now. Run a company called the Coach Group, which is a coaching platform. So what we're looking to do is, essentially the premise of everything I'm going to say is that India is a sports-loving country. We love all our sports. Viewership in terms of our leagues and tournaments, whether that's the IPL or the ISL or the World Cup or the Wimbledon, across sports is extremely high. But we don't really play sports as much as we love the sport. So are we really a sporting nation is the question that I keep asking, and me and my partner, we keep asking us the same question. Is India really a sporting nation? And is there a gap there, and how are we going to address that gap? I mean, why I say is India really a sporting nation? By 2030, we are going to have about 700 million people in India under the age of 30. And this is this age profile is the strongest age profile that seeks an active lifestyle. Whether that is CrossFit, whether that is a sport, whether that is just a simple jog, people are looking to stay fit and people are looking to get involved in wellness and take care of their health. So here's what we are trying to solve, and this is something that has bogged my mind for a long time. India we're in a bit of where it's crunch time right now in terms of sports. 1 in 3 kids have an unhealthy body mass index. You've got 2 in 5 with low body strength. 1 in 4 have tough issues with flexibility. We've also got 3 more kids stop playing football, stop playing sports after college. So there's a real problem in terms of why doesn't India play. And I think there are 4 or 5 factors that really determine this. First and foremost, there's a mindset problem which needs to change. These are our parents, our mothers and fathers. I have been lucky enough, now that we're at the Women's Economic Forum, and I've been lucky enough to do what I want to because I've had a wonderful mother behind me. Of course, my dad did a lot as well, but my mom was someone who was able to let me just live the way I wanted to and make decisions and make choices the way I had to. So thank you for that. And of course, so the mindset change at homes at a very grassroots level is something that we need to focus on out here. We need to integrate sports again with the educational curriculum. That is something we need to focus hard on. We need to see how we need to do that. What solutions around that can we build so that sports is well integrated into a kid's 9 to or whatever 7 to 2 schooling hours, just as much as social science and maths and all these other subjects. Sport is something that needs to be focused on in the same format. We've also got an issue with the workforce. Now, coaches are a big problem. So at the coach crew, this is something we're seriously looking at. How to upskill our, not just users and customers and people who want to play, upskill our. Now that is a huge market. India has a lot of people who enjoy playing sports. They play sports and then they want to get into someone like so. He's done with his professional playing career. How does he stay in the sport? Coaching is a natural progression after having played a sport. We need to do this with people who haven't reached a certain level in sport. With someone like me, I've enjoyed playing football and cricket and a couple of other sports through my life. I would have loved coaching, but options were a bit limited about 5, 6, 10 years back when I was thinking about that. So a trained workforce is something that we really could focus on. We have a lot of people in India who are looking for opportunity and options and sports. Again, you will find in sports that people generally aren't there. It's not like lawyers and doctors and engineers. People in sport, they come with a lot of passion because India has not been easy to be in sport. So if you have decided to be in the industry, you've done it out of your own volition, out of your own calling. You followed a passion. So there's a lot of people out there who could be trained, and we create a workforce that is able to coach the rest of India. India doesn't play enough, and one of the problems there is again skilling. We today at age 8, at age 10, at age 12, it's easy for us to go out, learn a sport, pick a sport. I'll be done. And but at age 25, at age 30, at age 35, at 50, it's harder for us to go out there and pick something up. It's a bit embarrassing. Will you go out there and learn a new sport at 35 where you're a stalwart across 8 different things you do, but you go out there, you make a complete fool out of yourself first 5 times at least. So coaching becomes important, skilling becomes important. People, once they have the skill to go do something, they would go spend time doing an activity, they'd go spend time playing a sport, they'd spend money on it, and essentially they're comfortable and confident with themselves about being able to play this sport. And I'm not going to go into further detail, but essentially I think we need to focus on the active lifestyle in India and how we can create more avenues for people to play, whether that's football, tennis, cricket, chess. whatever it is. We need to promote playing sport. We all know how important it is and how that benefits society. Thank you, guys.
Hey guys, so I'm Varun. So I'm a healthcare entrepreneur. I've been in the healthcare space for about close to a decade now. And something that I think sport, one area that I feel that sport plays a very, very crucial role in our society is in how it affects our health, right? So if you play a sport, you're very likely to be in a better off health-wise. And in India especially, we have a massive crisis in terms of healthcare. We have a non-communicable disease crisis, and when you consider the fact that the WHO report says that over 70 million people in India currently suffer from diabetes. And the thing with diabetes is it's a two-pronged disease. So one is it's chronic. So it's something that that sort of extends throughout life. You can live with it for 25, 30, 40 years even, but it significantly affects your quality of life. And secondly, it's preventable. So if you engage in leading a healthy lifestyle, very physically active lifestyle, then you're more likely to, you're likely to delay the onset of the disease in the first place. So something like that, I feel, is something that affects our societies significantly, and it affects women even more, because even though the incidence of diabetes is split roughly 50-50 amongst men and women, unfortunately in our Indian societies, what also tends to happen is that women play the caretaker role in most households, and therefore they have to, even if they don't suffer from the disease themselves, they're forced to stay back and take care of people who are suffering from the disease. And I think what sport does is it provides an opportunity for people to live a very, very healthy lifestyle, to engage in physical activity, and therefore prevent this disease from occurring in the first place. I think the cool thing about sport is what it does in our communities is it brings people together. It's got two primary reasons for why it's very successful. So I deal with a lot of doctors. I meet a lot of doctors on a daily basis. And what I find is a lot of doctors say that when they're treating patients with diabetes, a lot of patients are given very simple instructions to follow, simple training plans, so 30 minutes of walking, for example, 30-minute brisk walk. And they find that the compliance or adherence to this is very, very minimal. And I feel that's where sport has a very, very important role to play, because it brings people together, it creates a society, and it creates a community around a certain activity that is healthy for you. And in addition to that, also sport gives the opportunity, it gives you additional motivation because of events. So whether you play a sport, whether you play football recreationally or tennis recreationally or even run or cycle, there's always events that you can look forward to. And so that's something that real sport, I feel like sport creates that that motivating factor that keeps you disciplined and keeps you makes you stick to that task or commitment. Yeah, the social aspect of it as well. So, and in addition to that, I also think it's a very, 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 very varied industry. So there's many aspects to it, right? So when we're talking about sport as an economy, India is obviously growing, and I think the fact that people are now very aware of these diseases means that there's a lot of attention paid to it, and people are looking at these even from a business point of view. So there's a lot of investments moving into the space. So one thing that we realize is in India alone now, there's over $1 billion being spent on sports sponsorships every year. This is less than 2% of the global total, but it's still a significant amount. And although the majority of it is cricket, we're seeing that diversifying as well. So that's something that's very interesting. And I think that will bring our communities together even further. And in addition to that, I think there's many different aspects to it. So there's obviously professional sports where the sponsorships are very deals and things like that are very lucrative, but there's also so many other aspects. So there's infrastructure, there's manufacturing, there's retail, there's a whole lot of opportunities. Of course, now sports tourism is growing significantly. People traveling all over the world now to compete in events like marathons. So I think this is a very, very promising industry, and I think it's something that our country needs. And the more investments go into it, the more people that get involved in it, The trends are anyway moving that way, but I think as a whole society will benefit because of the additional help that we all gain from it. And with that, I think I'll just pass it on to maybe to Sylvia, since I've touched on the manufacturing, and maybe she can talk a little bit more about that.
Hi. Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Sylvia, and I'm the head of Reebok India. I'm not coming from overseas, so I'm living here for the last 2 years and a half, and I took the responsibility of making a healthier lifestyle in this world. Let me remind you one thing, that in year 92 was my first year landing in India. And I remember by that time that I started running in the street, and people were looking at me like, what the hell is she doing? Is she running? Why? There was nobody in the street running. Now, ever since year 1992, you may agree with me that things have dramatically changed. Still, there's a lot of work to do, but this has changed dramatically. And I have experienced a lot of change in that sense. Even in the last 2 years and a half since I'm heading up Reebok, we've seen the change. And when we talk about it, we like to say that the sport has the power to change lives. And that's true. I mean, it's not only about physical, it's also about mental. And this mind, I mean, changing the mindset that you were saying earlier helps people to get more empowered into that area. And especially when it talks about women. Because today we talk mostly about women. We know that if you see it, there are mostly men sitting here, sportsmen. Okay, and this is somehow representative of how the market is represented now. Most of the achievement now in the Indian championships are mainly done by men. But if you also remember, there are more and more women also that lately in track and field, I mean, there was this famous girl as well who made a great achievement as well. So women are getting by sports, by fitness, to make a change in their lives. And that's what we are also talking about, how we can change their lives. There is a campaign that 2 years and a half ago we started, that we call it, there was some kind of economical reason to start a campaign, a marketing reason as well, that was Fit to Fight. We call it Fit to Fight. And then the purpose of everything, this is a business, this is a corporate, so we wanted business, of course. But it derived into something else. It derived, and we realized about the responsibility of something that we started. It derived into a movement, into women, how to empower women, and how to use fitness and sports to change their lives. And then all of a sudden, something that started like a simple marketing campaign became a tool for women to change their lives, and also to give a voice to those unsung heroes that are in our society that never had the chance to have a popularity or to have a voice into the world. And by the fitness, by our platform, Fit to Fight, we started giving that opportunity for them to explain their stories. Among those stories, there are multiple ones. I mean, one of them is Deepa Malik, who was one of the winners in the Paralympic Games as well, a very powerful woman who used our platform as well to give more voice to those disabled athletes or women who wanted to give more representation in the society. But through those stories, it was amazing. I mean, we realized that a lot of women needed to express their feelings, express their relevance into the society. A lot of women, like I remember one called Seema Rao. Seema Rao is one of the only women commando in the Indian Army. That's an amazing achievement. She's a super expert. She's in mixed martial arts. And she's leading a group of men, something in a patriarchal society such as the Indian society is. It's an amazing achievement. And she's a remarkable woman. She was part of our latest campaign as well. And we felt proud to include her as well to give voice to this kind of women who are never shown into the society, and to to become an example, a role model as well for other women who want to become important. This morning, I just received a WhatsApp from a little girl from Tamil Nadu called Kalai Selvi. She comes from a rural Tamil Nadu, and I decided to help her with some shoes, to provide her some shoes because she was unable to buy footwear for running. She wanted to run marathons, but her family only wanted to support men in the family. So I decided to support her. This morning she sent me the notice that she won the marathon in Chennai. So it's very good news to know that you contribute to help some women as well, not only men also that we are supported, of course, but women don't get so much support sometimes in the society. So through the sport, we make her change her life as well, and she keeps on succeeding as well. So this is really very good news. So it looks like my time is over. I would like to. Yeah.
So it's not necessary to conform and sit in a chair. I'm a sportswoman first, and I would like to walk. From the time I think I realized that I could walk, I started running. And when I realized there was an option between a playground and a classroom, you can all believe that I chose the playground first. So that was typically me. So I'm Ranjana, and for almost 40 years of my life, I've been on the playground. It has stood me in good stead. Life is always about the mountains and the valleys, and I've climbed plenty of that. And the one thing that has kept me going has been the ability to multitask, which is what a sport teaches you. Right? So while we are focused very much on the goal ahead, we do know there are many other parameters around us that also require as much and equal attention. So this is a little brief on my journey. Indian sports has grown, and all my peers here have mentioned that time and again. I understand in 2017 we grew by about 1,000 crores by virtue of business, and we continue to grow. We'll soon be a billion-dollar industry, along with the United States and the European countries as well. But what is more interesting is that a country which has been so specific till now has started encouraging other sports, which is very Indian by nature, like you have Kabaddi coming in. And Pro Kabaddi Leagues award is now taking the country by storm. The good part about Kabaddi, let's see, we have just moved away from just looking at talent that's very urbanized. We're moving very much into the rural areas, giving children from every corner of the country to say, I'd like to participate. We all recently heard the success story of a child who used to be, I think, a fruit-selling vendor, if I'm not mistaken, who is now in one of the Kabaddi League teams. And that's a big shout out to India, saying we can make it. Yeah? So I'm standing at a Women's Economic Forum, and I'd like to speak about sport and women today. First, absolutely, and nothing less than a standing ovation for Hima Das, who has taken our country to the absolute top. She has created history, and we must at this forum acknowledge that. It's the first time, it's a historic event, and we should give her a bigger applause than that. Then Deeja Malin, I want a whistle from you, and Oporo. Thank you for that. So what is it? So Hima Das has won a medal. What happens next is even more phenomenal. We've got amazing sports science centers that are cropping up now with great ferocity across the country. We have the Northeastern Belt, who have actually got all the funding that's coming into every department of the government, saying we will move everything to only a sport arena because that's where the talent lies. So, we're going to be participating with them, and I'll come to how of that later. Yoga, which is also a sport-specific arena, has enabled so many women today to take it up and become independent and economically sound. What does it do when a woman is economically sound? So she becomes independent. 2, she's highly confident. And 3, when she's confident, her whole family life gets boosted. boosted. So everybody in the family is far more happier when the woman, who's the central figure in our family, is happy, is content, is confident. So you will have the children, you will have the husband, and everybody functioning far better than if you have a wife who's constantly feeling deprived, economically not so sound. So I'm now at this part of my life moved on from the corporate field, and I have come back full circle to an area that is very, very dear to me. I work with a company called SportsQ as a business consultant. So what does SportsQ do? We are a startup, and we work with serious athletes in enabling them to understand that when you take on a sport, it's not about just becoming the next Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, or whoever you may want to. It's about developing your own specialty, your personality, and coming out with it. What is required? We need to toughen them up mentally. We need to educate them on the nutritional aspect, on the physical aspect, and then genetically direct and guide them into saying, what can you do, and what is the way to maximize the potential that that body of yours is already carrying? So genetics is playing a huge role today, and we are one of the drivers for that in the country. We are working on wellness programs for corporates. Taking this a step further, I would look at Sylvia next, and I would want to talk to her later, because we're finding there's a huge middle-income group that says no to fitness, and we're trying to see if we can introduce just 1 day a week of wearing a sneaker and coming to work. It doesn't matter if you wear a sari, it doesn't matter where a salwar kameez, but just wear your sneakers and come to work and enjoy the day feeling free. Don't worry about falling, tripping, nothing. Just be there. Okay. So on that note, and as a typical sports person, when the bell rings, I'm out of here. And I thank you very much for having given me this opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ranjana, and everybody else over here as well. I'd just like to really quickly just touch up on one little small thing. It's a little bit about the work I do, as well as about the problems that currently exist, within our sporting ecosystem in India. So, they say that in order to solve a problem, first you need to identify that there is one. Whether or not we like it, we have to understand and see that there's so many aspects where actually the girl child is discouraged to go out and play, and that's the fact. Whether we like it or not, it's not something I like, but that is a fact. So, for example, we run a non-profit called Life is a Ball, and this is something I started doing 2011, 2012, where we basically the concept is incredibly simple. Make sports accessible to people who don't have access to it. And we believe that through sport we can, change lives and everything else we talked about. Now, one of the interesting things about as well, but some of the problems we face are some things as simple as the girls don't want to go out and play because it gets too dark, because they get too dark, or they don't want to go out and play with the boys. So these are issues, and also they don't want to play when they're on their period. Something as simple as that. So at Life is a Ball, what we do is once we recognize that this is a serious issue with the women, we've come up with a program of our own that we call Breaking Gender Stereotypes. And that's exactly what we want to do, and we believe that we can break gender stereotypes through sport. So, for example, one of the things that we do at the program is when we go into a school, we go talk to these girls and we say, what's a sport, what's a guy's sport? And they say something like football or cricket or something like that. And we ask the guys, what's a girl's sport? And they say, Kho-Kho. So what we do is we make the girls teach the guys how to play their sport and vice versa. And at the end of the week, we make sure that they have a tournament. And our slogan, and this is something I'm extremely proud of, our slogan at Life is a Ball with the Breaking Gender Stereotypes program is, sports doesn't judge gender, neither will I. Yeah, so this is something that's obviously very, very close to me, something that I've seen firsthand, and it's something that we want to fix. So through Life is the Ball as well, we teach our teachers of the schools as well. We teach them something like as simple as self-defense. We teach them how to be active through activities such as Zumba. We also, in fact, we also have a specific workshop where we go into our schools and we teach the girls that it's okay to play when they're on their period. It's okay to, and different ways of dealing with it to make sure that they are comfortable and they are confident to go out and play regardless of whatever else is happening with them. So, now that being said, if you really look at the way sports has progressed in India, it's no real, it's no real surprise that it's kind of been dominated by men. And one of the first girls who came out, in recent memory at least, is a very, very close friend of mine, Sania Mirza. And what's really cool to see is that since Sania came out and since Sania broke through, an amazing amount of champions. So in the last Olympics, it was pretty much the girls who brought home all the glory. Whether it was PV Sindhu, Saina Nehwal, Sakshi Malik, Deepa Karmakar, and now of course the fans you mentioned, Hima Das as well. It's really encouraging to see that the trend in India is changing. But now what we also need to focus on is, yes, it is changing at the highest level, but is it also influencing the grassroots? Because at the end of the day, that is the most important thing. So like I said earlier, in order to solve a problem, you need to first identify that there is one. And now that we have identified that there is a problem in the grassroots, and the biggest issue is that people are not encouraged to play because they do not see the benefits and how it could actually affect a child's life. As accessibility is one, I also think awareness is the other. So, I take it upon me personally. I've done it for the last 6 years, and I hope that all of us can take it upon us personally as well to make sure that when we see the girl child out there, we do encourage them to play. We do encourage them to be a part of sport, and hopefully through that, we'll really see the growth in the women's sport in India. And overall, I always believe that the second that women start getting catapulted up in society, the society generally gets better. So hope that happens, and thank you guys again, once again, for having me. It's an amazing honor, and I'll always be around for you guys. Thank you.
Just would like to add something to what you were mentioning earlier. Unfortunately, in India, it's sometimes it's slightly difficult for women to practice sports. One of the factors that you were mentioning was late in the evening, and for that purpose, we raised a petition from Reebok India in change.org to make self-defense compulsory in all schools for women. Okay, we think that it's really amazing that unfortunately it's necessary to do it. We have seen a race of women who started learning combat and mixed martial arts as self-defense. And it's a way as well to get introduced into sports. Why not? We can change dramatically the society. But this is part of the change that we can do, help women to get self-defense as well. Of course, we would like to cut the problem from the very beginning. That's the root of the problem. We would like to cut it, but you give me the solution for it, and then we go for it, we invest on it. But we don't have the immediate solution for it. But we have a solution to avoid that part of the eve teasers, of the evening problems as well that some women have as well. And at least self-defense can make it impossible. So please sign this petition, whoever is in favor for it. It's in change.org. It's about making self-defense compulsory at schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing that extraordinary perspective on the universality of sports. I think I think sports have the power to change the very essence of your being. So the sooner you start beyond gender barriers, the more power in your hands you can have your life. And we do have a few minutes, so if anyone in the audience with some burning questions, this mic will be yours.
Yes, it's not a question. It's about the thing I want to share with all of you regarding sports and gender barrier. So my daughter, she was learning MMS, that is Jiu-Jitsu, a sport which she wanted to learn. And we stopped saying that, you have to interactively interact with men, body, you have to learn techniques which involve the men and the ladies to come together. So we were like, no, we can't allow you this because it involves direct interaction between a man and a girl. So we had to really fight and convince all our family members that when she goes into the world, later on, she needs to learn self-defense to be able to stand on her own legs. So it took a lot of struggle to allow her to do, and then the place where she went to learn, she was the only girl child over there with all the trainers, coaches, they had all bodybuilding structures, which, again, was not comfortable to see. So the parents need to change their mindset first to be able to allow the girl child to go out, and then the girl child also has to be very, very strong. Today, to come out of her cocoon and tell that, no, I want to do this very badly and I want to do it and I will do it, then only can she succeed in doing anything, and that is what my daughter did. She said, no matter what you do, I have to learn this and I will learn it. So we had to we really had to let her do it. And at the end of the time, that is when I learned that, we have to come out of our own mindset and allow the gender, not a girl or a boy. Like if it was my son and I was forcing my son to do it, I was telling him, why don't you learn this art? And I was not allowing my girl child to do it. So first of all, the parents have to come out of it and, allow the girl child to do it.
Thank you, Vandana, for bringing that perspective on the transformed parent. We have a question here.
It's not a question, it's a comment. Wonderful panel to listen to, and I'm glad one of you spoke about Deepa Malik. So my request is that as you look at accessibility and look at it from a gender angle, please also look at it from an ability angle. Specifically looking at people with speech and hearing impairment. I mean, there are lots of forms of sport now which are accessible to orthopedically challenged or orthopedic people with orthopedic disabilities, as wheelchair tennis, wrestling, and so on. But looking at people with speech and hearing impairment, looking at people with psychosocial disabilities. So accessibility is in every which way, right? So I just wanted to add that point to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Is there anybody else in the audience who'd like to add anything?
Sylvia, actually, you talked about self-defense. Our next panel is, we're unpacking self-defense in women's health. So stay with us. With that, we'd like to conclude this brilliant session. And if I could disrupt my dear sister's lunch and ask her to do a mini marathon, welcoming Dr. Harbeen Arora, and also inviting Nirja Malik to accompany Harbeen to give away the awards to this very precious panel. Inviting Karan Ravi Shankar to accept this honor as the exceptional leader of excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Rania Ramakrishnan, we congratulate you. Stop it! Thank you.